Right, I have a lot to get through today because there's a lot of stuff I want to mention, so I hope this doesn't get too long. Oh, I have some really cool earrings on today. I just want you to see them. They're really cool. They have David Bowie on them. They're guitar picks. I got them on Depop actually, and I got ones with The Who one and Jimi Hendrix as well, so I'll link that Depop shop because it's a really cool shop. She makes really cool earrings and she's a really nice person, so I'll link that below. Anyway, I have just finished doing my first year of uni at Exeter, doing liberal arts, and while I was at Exeter in my first year, I stayed at Birks Grange. Birks Grange was actually my first choice of uni accommodation, so I'm really happy that I got it. I really enjoyed living there. I've already filmed a tour of my room when I was moving out, so if you want to go watch that, then click the card now, or there'll be a link to it at the end of the video, and I'll probably put it in the description as well if I remember. That's really helpful if you want to see what the inside of the accommodation looks like. I give a tour of my room and the kitchen and kind of show you the layout of everything. So if you're interested in that, then go check that out. Essentially, I'm going to try and answer as many questions as I can today in this video, but if there are any other questions, then comment them and I will do my best to answer them. Or, you know, if there's any other videos you want to see about Exeter, then I will probably make them too. I don't have much else to do right now. So yeah, today I'm just going to talk about a bit where Birks Grange is in terms of where it is on campus compared to town, how you get to the station, etc., things like that. Specifics about it, for example, the bins, the laundry, things like that, but also catered versus self-catered, ensuite versus sharing a bathroom. I will probably talk about Lafrowda versus Birks Grange. Those are, I would say Lafrowda and Birks Grange are the two most popular accommodations, and a lot of people want to know the differences between them. And then finally, I would just have a pro and con list on the other side of this paper and we'll go through that. So number one on the agenda is where Birks is. Now, Exeter, the website on the accommodation, it does have a map. I just find it supremely unhelpful. There's like a walking distance map I think they have, which is sort of helpful, but the way it is kind of hard to actually visualize where all the accommodations are. So I have done this extremely amateurish drawing on Microsoft Whiteboard, which is hopefully a bit more helpful, showing you where all the accommodations are in comparison to each other and also in comparison to campus. So this is just a very basic view of some of the accommodations. It's by no means all of them. At the top here we have the main campus. This is where the Great Hall is, the shops, Costa and the main library. It's just essentially the centre of campus. If we zoom out a bit, you can see it's on top of a hill, and although this is simplified, we can roughly reduce it to, on the left, having Cardiac Hill, and on the right, Forum Hill. And at the bottom of Forum Hill is Lafrowda. It's the opposite side of campus to Birks Grange. If you're in Lafrowda, then you're near to the Lemmy or Lemon Grove, which is Exeter's club. It also has dance and fitness classes here. You're also near to the Grove Diner, the outdoor swimming pool and a supermarket. As far as I know, the rooms in Lafrowda are pretty much identical to Birks. Birks is at the bottom of Cardiac Hill, which I'll talk more about later. It has catered and self-catered accommodation as well as a shop. If you go up Cardiac Hill, you'll pass Clydesdale and Nash Grove, and along Clydesdale you'll find Juilliard right at the end. At the top of the hill is Holland Hall, and this is the nearest accommodation to the campus. It's also the most expensive accommodation. And so that brings us to the end of the tour of my really bad drawing. I hope that was somewhat helpful. It is a fair bit away from the town, I would say. I'm a really fast walker and I could go there in about 20 minutes. But that is 20 minutes there and back, 40 minutes, and then you're doing shopping on top of that probably, so that's an extra hour. And because of that distance, most people did do shopping online, so we would kind of just get a Tesco delivery. A lot of the time we would like message our flatmates and be like, oh, I'm doing a Tesco shop, is there anything you want me to order? And then we could meet in the kitchen and add things to a Tesco shop. Where I would say Birks is good is that it is quite close to the station. From where your room is, you can kind of see the railway, but you can't hear the trains at all. It's double glazing, it's like really quiet, you don't really hear much. So that's not a worry. The trains aren't noisy, I barely noticed them the entire time I was there. But it does mean you're not far away from St David's station. St David's is like the closest to Birks. There are trains directly to London from there. That's the main station. And then lastly, with regards to location, I just want to talk about the distance to the campus. So the big thing here is Birks is at the bottom of a hill, and it is a pretty big hill. It is called Cardiac Hill for a reason. You do get used to it, and there are other routes to the main university. but it is quite a big thing to factor in. It's quite a long way, steep way to walk at like 8:15 in the morning when you're running for your 8:30 and you're late and you arrive there hot, sweaty and almost dead because of the massive hill you've climbed up. That is where Lafrowda could be better. It is at the bottom of a hill, but the hill is nowhere as big as and steep as Cardiac, and it is mostly flat around there. I would say it probably took me about, officially it's supposed to take about 15 minutes to get to campus, and I would say that's probably about right if you know, kind of take the hill at speed and go up all the steps and stuff. While the hill is, you know, a fairly big thing, you know, there's a lot of people living in Birks and we all managed to handle it, so yeah, I would say it's painful, but you get used to it, and Birks is just a really nice place anyway. Okay, next up is the overall layout of the room. I'm talking bathroom, kitchens, corridors, what it's all like, things like that. The important thing to remember is that the rooms are pretty much mostly the same. There are differences, but the kind of vibe of the room is going to be the same whether you're in Lafrowda or Birks, and whether you're in catered or self-catered. The big differences come between self-catered and catered. Self-catered rooms don't have a double bed. I'm pretty sure catered rooms in Birks do. It didn't really bother me. I have a single bed at home, so it like wasn't a big deal. I will say the mattress was really uncomfy, but I was like the only one out of all my flatmates who had that problem, so I think I just had an old mattress. A big thing people want to know about is whether you should go for ensuite or non-ensuite. I really appreciated having a bathroom all to myself, but that being said, I have friends in different universities who shared bathrooms and they didn't really have a problem with it. That was fine, they didn't mind it. I guess it's all down to personal preference and I can't really answer that for you. I guess things you have to think about are whether you'd be comfortable going to the bathroom in the middle of the night or how sociable you are, and those might not even be issues at all for you. I have discussed this with my flatmates and we all kind of agreed that we did like having our own bathrooms, so I guess I can't really answer that for you. I guess that's not really helpful at all. The other big question would be whether you go for catered or self-catered. I personally was self-catered and I enjoyed that. I liked being able to cook my own food and eat when I wanted to, but also the kitchen was just a really nice social space to have, and you'd end up cooking with flatmates and just like having like a nice time, and with the kitchen comes the sofas, and the sofas are just a nice place to have a chat and hang out. I believe that if you're in catered, you don't have that same social space in your flat. You have to go to the main catered block and then hang out there. I did eat in the catered halls once on like one of my first nights when they were having a curry night, and it was just kind of to meet new people. I didn't like love the food. I have heard reviews of it that aren't so good, but I've also heard people just like enjoy having that and having the routine of going to eat dinner in the catered hall. And also one thing I noticed was that the people in the catered halls, those people kind of seemed to have a better relationship purely because they were all going to the catered block in the centre together for meal times, and the people in the self-catered blocks tended to keep to their own flats. However, that might have been my block, that might have been my flat, I don't really know, I can't really answer for everyone. I guess the next logical thing to talk about would be townhouses. I personally have never been in a townhouse, however, they always get really good reviews. As far as townhouses compared to flats, in my flat we had 8 people, including me. In a townhouse you have 12 people, and then with that you share a bathroom with one other person. With a townhouse you get a massive social space. I'm talking a kitchen with an island and bar stools, you get a much bigger space with sofas. So it is a bit of a compromise between whether you want to share a bathroom and how many people you live with, and then having that big comfy social space. In terms of where townhouses are, they are positioned behind the main catered block, and that means that they're really close to the shop, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about. So Birks has its own shop. As with all other university-owned shops, it's really overpriced. However, it is really nice to just have a shop where you can just pop and get milk. In the central block, that is where the reception is, that's where you collect your post. They actually have like quite a good system for that, so there's an app which tells you when you get a parcel. Go down, they scan your phone, and then you get your parcel. The only downside is they don't have the same feature for post, so you kind of have to just check whether you might have any letters or not. And then in the central block, that's also where you do your laundry. That, dear God, that has the most horrific app ever, and the thing is, I didn't want to talk about it because it's not specific to Exeter. I'm pretty sure the app runs in a lot of unis. All my friends used it as well. It is so bad. It's called Circuit, and I think most universities use it. And essentially you top up money and then you use that money to pay for your laundry. And you have to use your phone to scan a QR code on the washing machine, and then that pays for it. It's extremely expensive. It's like £2.50 a wash, and then something like that, and then another £1.70 or something for drying. What I also found was that I wasn't paying the same prices as my friends in Birmingham, for example. So it's not even like a connected system. But also you can only top up a minimum of £5. It's really annoying. You have to top up £5 every time you go below a certain amount of money. But not just that, a lot of the times the app wouldn't work. It's basically made for like iOS 6 or something. It doesn't work. The washing machines broke a lot, which means that you couldn't use the app, which means I lost £17 because the washing machines didn't work or the dryers didn't work, and it took my money without the cycle actually working. So the laundry is in the central block, and then behind the central block is where all the bins are. You kind of just have to use common sense for that, you know. Like there were some stages where we had to have an overflow bin because no one could be bothered to go down and put the bins out, but eventually someone does it. There's all recycling there as well, so you have to kind of sort out your recycling, but you know, that's fine. Before I go on to pros and cons and then finish this whole long video, I'll just talk about Birks Grange versus Lafrowda. Lafrowda is genuinely seen as the party block or the most sociable block. That's like its reputation. I would say probably that's true. It is a very sociable block, but you've got to remember it's kind of hard for a block to have a reputation because it's different people living in it every year. However, because it's kind of like a circular thing, because Lafrowda has a reputation for being loud, it attracts sociable people, and then that kind of keeps happening. Birks, I would say, is still pretty sociable, to be honest. I mean, it has a nice vibe, and because it's kind of far away from the rest of the uni, I think that's why. We're kind of our own little community. I mean, it's called Birks Grange Village. We are like a village. You kind of, you know people there, and all the blocks are kind of connected. It's nice. I would say if you are looking for a louder place, then Lafrowda would be better for you. But Birks still had a lot of block parties, flat parties. It was still a very sociable place to be. It just doesn't have the same reputation as Lafrowda. Regarding rooms, I am pretty sure Lafrowda had quite a lot of work done on it last year, so I think it is a bit more modern than it used to be. I would say whether you're in Birks or Lafrowda, you're gonna have a good time, so don't worry about it too much. At the end of the day, you're gonna find people that you like there, and you're gonna find your groove in whatever place you're in, so it will turn out fine wherever you are. Okay, to finish things off, I have a pro and con list that I quickly wrote up, and I'm just gonna go through it. So, cons. Number 1, I've written the hill in capital letters with exclamation points. Cardiac kill is a big deal about when you live in Birks Grange. However, you do get over it quite quickly. You get used to it. It just is a bit much. Not only in the morning, but if your lecture ends at like 5:30 in the winter and you're doing it in the dark, then it's not as fun. It is something that people can unite over though. Everyone knows about Cardiac Hill. If you say you live at the bottom of Cardiac Hill, people will sympathise with you. I should also mention, so Birks lives at the bottom of Cardiac Hill, and then Juilliard, Clydesdale Rise and Clydesdale Courts and Nashgrove, they still live at the bottom of a hill. Exeter is like, the campus is at the top of a big hill, essentially. So even after you've done Cardiac, there's still more hill to go, and there are still steps to get to the campus. However, where I've actually written a pro to this is that it's actually not that far away from campus, but also the walk is really pretty. It's so pretty, especially if you go through Retool like I do. Retool is one of the prettiest places on campus, and if I can find some photos or videos of it, I'll put that here. Retool is so pretty. I love walking through there, and the gardeners do a really good job. So, you know, if you lived at the other side of campus, you don't really see the prettier side of the campus. Another con is that you are fairly far away from town. If you're on a night out, you do have to get a taxi because it's too far to walk. But a pro is that you're really close to the Impy. The Imperial is the closest Spoons, and I know Spoons is like an integral part of uni life, but also the Imperial in Exeter is the nicest Spoons ever. It's like a converted like 20s hotel, and It is so pretty. It's the nicest spoons I've ever been in, and it's really close to Birks, so that is a good pro. The final con I have is that every Wednesday from 11 to 1 they test the fire alarm. That is just, it's really annoying. It's really annoying. I do not miss that at all, especially because I would just sleep in on a Wednesday. I didn't have any lectures on Wednesdays, I had no classes, so I'd sleep in. And so I would always get woken up and have a heart attack by the fire alarm going off. It only goes off for about 10 seconds, but the fire alarm is quite annoying. But I'm pretty sure that happens in all residences, so that's not really unique to Birks. I pretty much covered all the pros already. I said I was placed with good people, which is true. So I have talked to my friends, and out of where they go, Exeter is the only place where to get placed with your flatmates, you fill out a quiz with your interests. And I think that results in some really good flats being made. I was placed with some really, really nice people, and we kind of got on really well. It was just nice having that. And then finally, and I mentioned this before, but it's just a really pretty part of campus. It's just nice. It's just nice living there. If you have any other questions, please do leave them in the comments. I will answer them as best I can. Also, if you have any other ideas about videos you want me to make about Exeter, then let me know. If you want to know more about the degree I do, then go watch my last video. It's called What is Liberal Arts? I recommend it if you're currently looking for ideas of what degrees to do and you're a bit stuck, or if you're looking for a degree that doesn't tie you down to one subject. So go watch that. Also, I have done a tour of my Birks Grange room, so you can watch that as well. Those are the last 2 videos that I have published on my channel. If this video was remotely helpful, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe so you can see when I make new content. It will probably be about Exeter, maybe some random stuff. We'll see. That's about it really. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Missing someone.